Trump, Sasha Riley, in a different perspective you haven't heard before. So listen throughout this. You'll feel 1,000% better. I'm asking one thing. You leave a comment now before the video, and you leave a comment after you've seen the video. It's a different perspective than you heard before. No, it's nothing triggering. It's nothing that's going to get my video banned, but I will be talking about it. And if you hadn't heard of Sasha Riley, but you keep hearing the name, it comes down to this. Sasha Riley claims that he was a former veteran who as a kid was a victim, and to Donald Trump and other powerful people. I've said to you for the last 2 years, really, that Donald Trump is not only accused by little girls or former little girls, but former little boys. And this is an example right here. And I'm going to give you a perspective you hadn't heard before. So let's go. Listen to the entire tape. Comment now and then comment after you've seen the video. Let's go. All right, let me give you some context. 30 years marketing, branding for Universal, DreamWorks, MCA, Interscope, Def Jam, Motown, yada, yada, you get it. Verb, blah, blah, blah. Some of the biggest people ever. Jay-Z, Eminem, Limp Bizkit, Nelly Furtado, The Roots, whatever. These days, I'm kind of really semi-retired from marketing branding, but I'm in this political space. And what I'm trying to tell you right now is I've seen powerful people. I haven't seen sex trafficking, but the reason I'm able to describe the Epstein Society so well is because I worked in the entertainment industry, and that's part of that industry. And also, I want to talk to you about the buildup of how this happens and understand how Sasha Riley made these claims. And I'm going to give you a different perspective than anybody else has done on this Sasha Riley thing. So let's go. The first thing I want you to understand is that I'm one of those people who heard about Michael Jackson before anybody heard about Michael Jackson. It was in the 80s from Bodyguards. I'm one of those people who heard about Bill Cosby. In the culture, in the black culture, a lot of us heard about Bill. Also, I live in Chicago. So guess what? We all heard about R. Kelly in the late 80s. I live right up the street from Kenwood High School, where he used to drive up there, you know, in Hyde Park. I'm telling you these things so you can understand very clearly that I have picked up and I have seen what these situations have done to young people and how it's developed over time. I'm also going to give you a perspective from 4 intelligence friends of mine who have an interesting perspective as well on Sasha Riley. Basically, Sasha Riley is saying some wild things that have happened with Donald Trump. I don't think that's hard to believe given all the stories that come in. Most people don't know this, but at this very moment, do you know the Trump family is paying off some of these victims? Not the ones that are out, you know, going up against Epstein, but the ones that stay quiet against Trump. And it's been alleged and talked about for years. And I'm talking about both boys and girls. So it's not unbelievable that it would be boys. Also, Sasha Riley's descriptions are so vivid, not only candid, but vivid, very direct, very detailed. It makes a lot of people believe that he's right and it's true. That's why I asked for your comments on it. I would love to hear your perspective. I'm going to read all your comments. But here's the thing I want you to understand is so important, is that time tells all tales. Nobody really says that. Time tells all tales. Let me give you an example. I heard about Bill Cosby since the 80s, and we were like, yeah, but Bill got money. They're probably playing him for money. We don't know. Maybe we do, but women keep coming out here and there saying, this man raped me. Now, the moment I believed it was over time. Wasn't just, oh, this person said details and they did it. No. What I began to notice over time was, 1, kept getting the allegations. 2, there were a group of women, all at grandmother ages at this point, and there was like 12 of them. They went on Don Lemon years ago, a couple of years back, and they came on there, and they said, we don't want no money. We don't want no fame. We told our friends and family. We're already getting our lives threatened. But this man raped us. Bill Cosby raped us. At that moment, I believed it. Here's why. I began to believe it. But then I continued to believe it. Because those women got on there. They didn't get paid to get on there. They did not do the press junket. They weren't one of the people, we're famous, this man, blah, 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 raped us. They got on Don Lemon, and then they went back to their lives and was still getting threats against people because they said Bill raped them. And I thought, wow, okay. So they're willing to put their asses on the line like that. No money, no fame. They weren't suing Bill. By the way, they weren't suing Bill. And they said, this man raped us. And that is when I began to see, okay, this man had to do this. Because at this point, you got 50 plus accusations. Somebody got to be right. He did something to somebody. Secondly, you got 12 women who got up there in front of the whole wide world with no money, no press junket, no fame, no nothing. They all had the same story, then they went off. Can't believe that was a setup. And I can't believe that didn't happen, because it's to their disadvantage to blame this man. You follow me? Disadvantage to blame. Time is going by, enough people come up, and truth comes through time. Is Sasha lying? Well, there have been former intelligence people in the intelligence community came to me and put out there that they disagree, including one in one of my private groups. And they said, hey, keep watching, because there's some things that don't sound right about the argument. Now, again, I want to hear your comments on it. I don't have, I'm not judging this. I'm simply watching. And what I've seen is very detailed story. But here's what we also know that not enough people talk about. He has a history with these little boys since the 80s. There's been allegations since the 80s that he's fucked around with these kids who are boys, not just girls. And so some of this has been coming out through the Epstein files of an allegation that we all heard about, a 14-year-old girl who was raped and her baby was unalive, was killed in Lake Michigan with him witnessing, and it was killed by her uncle. I want you to understand, it's not the allegations by her or by Sasha Riley or others that I'm beginning to look at. It's one, the reaction of the allegations by Trump administration, Trump lawyers. And two, the way that the authorities have handled it. And the people who have the ability to investigate it have handled it. That 14-year-old girl, if she put something like that in the FBI, and this was years ago, there was no follow-up on it. It's not the allegation. It's the fact that something like that is worth at least a follow-up, right? If they follow up and found nothing or whatever, but they didn't even follow up. Regarding Sasha, I don't know the timeline. And if you know a little more, share in the comments. I don't know the timeline as far as whether he shared and nobody got back to it, because I didn't listen to all the tapes. But I do want you to understand this. It's the reaction of the Trump administration, the lawyers, and it comes down to the reaction of Congress, or whether they want to bring him in for a congressional hearing. Will he get the hearing? And what's the reaction on both the Republican and Democrat side? And what we're looking at this, when you talk about allegations like this, who are the other players in that story? See, the victims of Epstein have corroboration among themselves, the ones that are out publicly. But remember, Epstein raped 1,000+ girls, traded 1,000+. They all corroborate in private. So many of them are anonymous, or some haven't come forward, but they corroborated in private to the victims' lawyers. So there's enough evidence in the network. Remember what I said with Bill Cosby? 50+ people is now up to, I think, 80 or 90, maybe 100. I'm sure it was hundreds. But the network confirmed what happened. What network confirms Sasha over time? I'm not questioning whether it happened or not. Again, not judging it. Who's confirming it? Who's reacting to it through the Trump administration and Congress? And what is it over time we're going to flesh out of this? In other words, who's going to investigate? Obviously, the Trump administration will not. DOJ not going to happen. They're compromised. But who's investigating? But if you've listened to me, I pointed out over the last year that there are thousands of investigators intelligence officers, who were fired out the NSA, the DEA, the ATF, and three-letter organizations you don't know. Of course, the CIA, FBI. And they're either independent, making money there, or they're retired. And they're looking into everything Trump. So when these Sasha tapes blow out, they're going to be looking at that too. Time's going to tell all tale if Sasha's lying or telling the truth. What do you think? I'm willing to sit here and say he's telling the truth until he's not. Because time, and that's the perspective that's different, time tells all tales. There are creators who go out there and say, I believe him 100%. I'm not here to challenge that. Or people who say, I don't know anything. I'm not here to challenge that. I'm here to challenge this. What I said about Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, and R. Kelly, which I believe all three did it. But it wasn't instant. When I heard the stories, I said, wow, okay. Let me see how things go. And I saw more witnesses. What all of them have in common is that there are hundreds of people saying things. Hundreds. And then there are stories that come out and back that up. Like the two white guys who said that Mike, sexually assaulted them. And I'm not talking about the ones who were in court. I'm talking about the ones who did tapes afterwards. Some people didn't believe them. Oh, they're lying. They're not done. And then other people believe them. Yeah, they did it. But I didn't. I believed them. And the reason I didn't just believe them based on their stories, no. I believed them based on a ton of other stories that corroborated what was happening. There was a network of people who corroborated the exact same thing. When it happened to Bill Cosby, I actually met someone who said they were a victim, a lady who said they were a victim. And I believed her. I chose to believe her. But over time, I began to see that there were a lot of women coming forth saying the same thing. And here's the thing, when you go out and make that accusation, unless you're getting some money or some attention or you're suing, that's where Bill always got away with it, because it's like, oh yeah, she's suing for some money. And all of a sudden she's saying this, that, and the other. That's questionable. But the people who came out and say, I don't want no money, I don't want no fame, that man raped me. Those are the ones that started coming out in droves and corroborating the same thing through that network. You follow where I'm going? That's when I began over time to say, oh, shit, unfolding, this happened. Same thing with R. Kelly. I mean, you got to understand that late 80s, early 90s, R. Kelly was a mega star in Chicago. We had never had an R&B star with that much fame and money and just blew up. And to this day, he's one of the most talented writers in R&B history. No argument. No argument. But we heard the stories, but we also knew, especially I was in my teens to early 20s, we also knew that when, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Let's keep it real. I'm going to say something. Do not take this the wrong way. I'm going to say something, but don't take it the wrong way, y'all. There are young girls and young boys who are teenagers who throw themselves at these rock stars, these famous people, and these billionaires. But the adults' responsibility is not to accept that. It is totally the adults' fault, 100%. You follow me? You agree? I mean, I'm not saying, oh, these little girls coming at them, so they have every right, or it's the little girl's fault. No, it ain't. It's the adults' fault to say, young lady, young man, no. And they didn't. So there are some women who are and boys who are not being pulled in, but they're attracted to what they're doing. Plus, the star quality and the money pulls them in to say, I want the money. Epstein was giving $300 to $500 out to these young girls and, pimping them out all across the world. $1 billion and 4,000 wire transfers are in those files. They're going to discover the whole Epstein society that involves lawyers, that involves financiers, that involves luxury assistants, intelligence officers, and involves fixers who make things disappear, including people. That's what's in those files. That's what they're really protecting, not just the millionaire, billionaire, blah, blah. It's Goldman Sachs people. It's Chase's people. It's some of the top law firms. And it's not that they're all doing pedo stuff. It's that they're all moving trillions, tens of trillions of dollars in money. So when we go back to R. Kelly, I heard the stories, but the stories kept coming out more often, showing up. And there were people who were like, man, I don't want nothing but that guy raped me. It was the same pattern as Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson. So when we look at Trump and you started hearing the stories, I'm like, man, they're repeatedly. And there are people who are like, I don't want no fame, but that guy raped. And some of which did go to court and they paid off. That's when I started saying, whoa, this guy's really doing this. That's not sensationalism. There are stories, just crazy stories that keep coming out. Somebody ain't lying when you got that many. And then you start having, again, the network confirmed. Look at what's happening with Sasha Riley, and the network confirms. That's what you want to look at. I'm not judging whether it happened or not. If it happened, horrible, horrible. I'm so sad to hear. But understand this. One, the pattern of Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, again, let me know your comments at the end of this video. We're almost done. Are that one accusation comes out and then several. And then there's a network of people who keep saying the same things and confirming the other people. Either they knew the other people or the details. There's no way in the world they could all have the same, you know what I'm saying, details. Or they could have heard somebody else say it, but it just seems right there. There's a tie-in. Same thing with Diddy. I haven't mentioned Diddy of all people, right? Same thing. I heard about the Diddy rapes in the 90s. Seriously. Because it's very common. He's not the only one. Diddy shut up about everybody. He knew everybody in the entertainment. I'm telling you, the entertainment industry was holding their breath. From people like Charlie Sheen to, big people, Leonardo DiCaprio. He know a lot of people's freak off shit. All day. All day. I'm trying to get you to understand that what happens is the accusation, they come in repeatedly, they start flooding in a bit, then the network of people, And then it's the reaction of the accused. It's the reaction. What is the investigation happening or not happening? What has Congress said about this? Watch that. What is the Trump administration saying about this? Watch that. Watch what networks of people confirm what Riley's saying. And that is going to give you a clearer picture. But the best picture is time. Don't judge. Just give it time. What are your comments? Let me know. Please share. And remember this with Trump. Because of all the accusations, he's going to get got. Especially as soon as those Epstein files come out. And they are coming out. Just be patient. Stay strong. God bless all the victims. And God bless America.